advantage of what now is gone. Back to you to fight another day. I'll go on and on and on and on. I'll face it, the demons I created with every last part of me. The pain will fade and I'll go on and on and on and on. Black and blue, I crawl to you. Black and blue, I crawl to you.
We're live.
Do it live, do it live. Welcome everyone to Friday Night SmackDown.
And
Boys
this,
and girls, ladies and gentlemen,
yes,
people and seniors, we're gonna talk about
computers, old computers, new computers, your mom's computer, your grandma's computer.
your uncle's computer or your dog's computer if they have one.
Yes. So, what should we start off with?
Let's talk about the old computers, you know, from Windows 95, the start of it.
Yeah, Windows 95. Like, Windows 95, when Windows became recognizable to us. At
Yeah, it
least
was
somewhat.
mainstream. Thanks to Bill Gates and Steve.
Ballmer.
Yes, Windows 95. It was one of the first ways to technology, the whole entire advantage of technology changed forever when it comes to us, sending emails or like sending messages.
Exactly, because the thing with Windows 95 was, it was the first big operating system to come bundled with a web browser. Internet Explorer.
Oh yeah,
Inter-
go ahead.
Internet Explorer was Microsoft's attempt to get America online. And speaking of America Online, that was one of the first internet providers that people used to get online with this
Oh, yeah.
Internet Explorer. AOL.
Yeah.
Internet
Yes.
Go ahead.
Many brands ran Windows 95, including Compaq, HP, Dell,
Yes, whatever was their gateway, I think.
Lenovo.
Wait, was Lenovo making computers back then?
Let's look it up. Let's see. Lenovo, when were they founded?
Lenovo.
Yeah, they were making computers now. They were founded in 1984, so...
Oh, sweet. So there were Lenovo PCs back then.
Most people bought the Compaq or HP and Dell, which had competition because,
Competition because, like Silicon Valley was about to explode.
Yeah, did you know that the Windows 95 was the first one to have the taskbar and icons and a welcome screen?
Yeah, I do know that. Like, Windows 95 was when Windows actually became recognizable. There was Windows 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0, but they are completely unrecognizable compared to today, and you couldn't even multitask on them. Multitasking was a feature on 95.
Yeah, it also had plug-and-play features.
Yes, aka drivers. Things that we take for granted today, that the whole plug-and-play thing became a thing on 95.
And also, it had 16 bits of, or 32-bit.
A 32-bit version.
Hey, GH, we're talking about Windows 95. Probably the ones that your mom, your dad, your grandpa, your uncle, your grandma, or anyone in your family that used it.
Yeah, we're talking about Windows 95 and how Windows 95 was one of the first operating systems to be bundled in with a web browser. And that was Internet Explorer, and we talked about how America Online helped people to use Internet Explorer, and also its own features like AOL Messenger, email, etc. So basically the early internet.
Yeah, AOL was like the Nintendo of the day when it comes to computers. It's like, yeah, it wants to get you connected with the internet, but only their internet, because they know that you're going to be safe there, and they know they can nickel and dime you every step of the way.
Yes, and does anyone remember AOL keywords?
I heard of it, but never.
Yeah, AOL keywords
it.
were one of these things that were kind of like URLs, but a lot more human readable than URLs, where you would go to AOL's main page, you would put in the keyword, and it would instantly take you to their website. So it was easier. Why can't we do that now? Because we have a little thing called Google. Which was kind of like that, but you didn't need a keyword at all. All you needed to do was vaguely come up with something and put it into the bar and type shit.
By the way, look at this. Oh, HP Windows 95 operating system desktop. I have screen sharing right here.
Yes, with the big old CRT monitors, the beige look, nostalgia.
Yeah. I remember my first Packard-built computer had Windows 3.1 on it, yeah.
Yeah, look at this.
Yeah.
Look how the evolution was back in 1995 with the whole entire... Look at that, the desktop, like, you know, the whole entire machine was there and the screen.
Yes, the good old CRT monitor. Like, I don't want to explain how a CRT monitor works because that's not really computer related, but I will say that CRT monitors still have a use to this day if you really want super low levels of lag and really low latency.
Oh my god, look at this. It's an HP, you know, desktop running on an Acer monitor.
Exactly, an Acer flat monitor.
Yeah.
One of the early ones.
You can still run these things.
Exactly.
Ooh,
Yeah, you can still run these things with modern monitors if they're VGA.
Oh my god, this is rare.
Yes, the Hewlett-Packard OmniBook.
That is a laptop, alright.
Yep, one of the first ones. I remember
Yeah.
this one really old YouTube video where it was discussing one of the first laptops to ever come out from like 1994. And
look.
it was
Okay.
thick, it was bulky, and it was surprisingly functional for its era.
Hey, DG.
Uh-huh.
By the way,
Hello.
this review. Shall we see how did this look?
Yeah, let's see it. Let's
Alright.
let's watch the review together.
Alright, let's watch this review.
Hi guys,
Yeah.
Retro Django here. Welcome back to my channel.
Yeah, but maybe not too much of it. That's like a whole 15 minutes long.
Another
Yeah, let's just skip through.
laptop computer. Now this
Half
time,
of it.
We're gonna have my
Let's see, what is this?
extra-
Ooh, look at those ports.
That's nice.
Yes, the old ports, the PS2 ports, the serial
Oh, yeah.
ports, where you only had to go through one bit at a time, which sucked.
Parallel.
Yep.
That's nice. So we can
Look
just
at that, the
use this
RGA
as a-
port, the VGA ports. You remember those?
Yeah, I remember those. The Dreamcast had one of those.
I don't know, 32,
Yeah, they're still around
27
today on some
inches,
towers.
SD, external
Hi
mics.
guys,
Okay,
Nick.
yeah, and
Hey, Nick.
then
Jack on ya.
external
Hi, Nick.
speakers. So depending on how many megahertz, then we can find out if this is a retro machine. On the
Oh, you guys are
backside,
doing
we have
Ooh, look at that.
for the docking. Let me check this.
Ooh, look at that, an
Yeah.
expansion slot.
About old
Dock
computers,
with that
new
system.
computers, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
Man, I wish
Yeah,
they'd been
this was
around for this
back when
episode.
people didn't know what to do with laptop expansion yet.
8 slots and oh, look at this, guys.
Is that a VCR?
Like, yeah, the olden days laptops were.
It's a really old
to a
laptop.
lesser
One of the
extent
first ones.
expandable. This is the last one.
It looks more like a VCR to me.
Yeah, that's the technology back then.
So we can
Yep.
drop it down.
Like
Does it have a disk
technology,
drive? I bet it has
Yeah.
a disk
technology was
drive.
classier
Like,
back
back
then.
then,
I don't
things
know.
were
They're just
bigger
missing,
and
okay, so
cheaper.
it looks like this.
Yeah,
Does it work?
it's like
I have no
Things were
idea.
bigger, but
What
with
more
that,
guys
like
we
you
have?
could easily get in there and expand shit.
Dude, that thing's fatter than one of those gaming tops from the late 2000s.
The batteries in here.
Yeah, because that's the point.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
you
'cause
couldn't
gotta
fit
turn
in
on
that kind of
the
power in that kind of space back then.
This has
Let's see what's inside. Let's see. Ooh,
My
those
laptop's like
big.
Yeah.
3 times as thin as that.
Ooh,
and it's
2
like-
RAM sticks.
Proprietary logic,
give it some power. I don't know if it works.
proprietary
If it
logic
works,
chips
we can
didn't
check it out. If it
exist
doesn't,
yet,
then
and
this
if they
one
did,
will
they
be a
weren't
really
as
short
widespread.
video, and this has to be glued.
Yeah, everyone was still using towers.
Oh, look, the BIOS though. The classic BIOS.
Yeah,
Yes.
There we go.
like in the olden days of what? In the olden days of laptops were a luxury for the most wealthiest of businessmen. Like the
My
fucking
first
comfort
PC was
of
also
portability
486,
costed you real money.
But
I bet you
the DX
came on thing back in
machine
the day.
was
Ooh, look at the screen though.
machine that-
Windows 95, buddy. With Microsoft Internet Explorer, like we talked about before.
looking at that is so nostalgic. We had Windows 95 until I was like,
Let's get some.
Like, Microsoft got a real trouble with bundling Internet Explorer with Windows 95 at the time, because
Oh,
back
there's
then
some
Internet Explorer's only
graphic.
competition
Yeah.
was Netscape Navigator.
It has.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking
Oh,
of
yeah,
yeah, before Google Chrome became the dominant, it was
Yep, it was Internet Explorer all
And
the
Netscape
way.
Navigator.
And Netscape Navigator.
nice dropping in.
Like, I want to talk about Mosaic, which was released in 1993, like the first commercial web browser, but that's before the time we're talking about right now. We're
Yeah.
talking about when the internet became mainstream.
Yeah, I think Netscape Navigator became Firefox, but don't quote me on it.
Yeah, but anyway, let's talk about who were the competitors. Like we mentioned before, HP, was it Dell, I believe? Compact,
Compaq, like the old brand that you'd go
Yeah,
to for cheap shit.
Like,
Let's look up Compaq
yeah,
computers.
and like they still made cheap shit for as far as I've known them. As far as I've known them, they had we had
Ooh.
a Compaq computer at one point. It ran Windows Vista.
Look
Ooh.
at this. A compact desktop with Windows 95.
Ooh, let's actually see the start of video.
Yeah,
Let's see. Oh my god, it looks like a mix between a TV and a VCR together.
Yeah, surprisingly.
the only people I've seen that say that compacts were like terrible, except for me with Windows Vista. The only other people I've seen that say they're terrible are people that didn't know any better. There was a time when computers had turbo buttons, and turbo buttons were like the computers around the time were double the speed of what
Oh
they
my God,
used
the
to be.
beeps.
So you could press the turbo button to slow it down. Yeah, you could press the turbo button to slow it down, and then as a result, we're turning. Okay, yeah, you could press turbo to slow it down. As a result, it could run the older shit. Like, some people would hate compacts because in order to run the newest games, they always pressed the turbo button first and thought the compact was just running the game terribly. You tell them over and over, no, you're pressing the turbo button. You're not supposed to do that. But then he'd always blow you off because that don't make any sense because turbo means fast.
Exactly. Look at that. Compact welcome. The old welcome sign. Oh my god.
Yes, like, this is what the out-of-the-box experience used to look
There
like,
were
kids.
so many.
Go ahead, GH.
Yeah, like old computers of this day were made by so many companies, so many different hardware manufacturers. You got your Packard Bell, you got your Compaq, you got your IBM, you got your Dell, you got your Gateway, and Gateway was the people that would later pick up the E-Machines brand. E-Machines is very well known in its day for making cheap stuff.
You got your HPs, of course, because HP were, a big market in gaming computers.
HP was what Packard Bell became. Because HP literally stands for Hewlett Packard, so Packard Bell became HP.
In terms of off topic, Carlo Fiorina used to be the CEO of HP for a while.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's not talk about politics
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, but here, look at this. Look how, oh my god, this is like this one before laptops became,
A thing, like I love how the CRT just looks. Like, it just gives that old feeling of nostalgia, a filmic look, if you will.
Yeah, and with that Windows 95 screen, it just makes you,
Just warm inside. Like, the earliest Windows I remember using was 98, but this just seems beautiful, especially the startup sound, which you're about to hear.
I have fond memories of running various things on 95, but my earliest OS I ever used was 3.1.
look at that, the debut of the taskbar, the debut of,
Ooh.
what you get in every Windows.
Yes, like, this was when that started, really.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so let's talk about the next thing about how this computer's like. This was the beginning of every computer, every brand, gain money from the market because thanks to Windows 95.
Yes, like, this is when computers really started to invade the home like we think of today. Like, this was when Windows 95 became a household name in every household at this point. At least every middle-class household.
Yeah. At the start of this era, computers had floppy drives and maybe a minimal connection to the internet if you had internet back then. But then CDs happened.
Yeah, by the way, let's talk about Macs, how they became, mainstream.
Yes, Macs were mainstream for a while, ever since the 1984 Macintosh. But here's the thing. Old Macintoshes ran on a little thing called the Motorola 6800, which was very different from the Intel computers that Windows computers ran on. Windows OSs run on.
Yeah.
And then they switched to a little thing called...
It's like, if you want to go...
Go ahead.
If you want to go further back than the Power PCs of the day, there are things that are just called Apple computers, like the Apple Lisa, the 2G, and shit like that.
Yeah, but Tonyo kind of started us off by pretty much, unfortunately, like, I want to talk about, like, the IBMs, the Commodores, like, the other shit from the 80s and early 90s, but Tonyo made it clear we're starting with 1995. So I might as well start there.
Alright. Okay, so this was the beginning. And for Macintosh, I think 95 was the beginning of the PowerPC architecture.
Yes, the PowerPC architecture. It was a RISC architecture that was supposed to be superior to the x86 architecture of the time. But just about a decade later, that would prove to be false. But let's talk about the history of that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Alright, so...
there were so many...
Yeah, there were so many
machines.
variants of the PowerPC from 1995 to 1998. But then Steve Jobs went back to Apple after NeXT kind of took a shit. Once he went back to Apple, he gave the world the iMac, the world's first iProduct. The thing with the iMac was, it was actually a lot easier for it to connect to the internet than Windows 95 was, making the internet more accessible than it ever was. And it was also a multimedia center.
Yeah, to give a context, like, round about 2005 was the last PowerPC Mac ever created. It was a Power Mac G5, came in many different models, but the best model had dual processors and 2 cores in each processor. It was the most powerful of the PowerPC Macs, but it consumed energy and exhausted heat like a goddamn space heater. So when they switched to Intel-based architecture for the later computers, that's how they were able to keep productivity high, but also save energy.
Yeah, that was the problem with PowerPC. Like, PowerPC chips are infamous for overheating, whether they were in the Xbox 360, Red Ring of Death, the Power Mac G5s, the heating issues, or the Wii with its weird-ass glitches and bricking from time to time. So, that's
Which
why...
is weird, because the Wii's supposed to be just a glorified
Exactly.
GameCube.
Pretty much. Yes. So, I guess that's why they switched to Intel. I mean, I was about to talk about the iMac G4, which is, in my opinion, the most beautiful PC ever made. The iMac G4 was beautiful in that it had this dome-shaped bottom that really organized the hardware well, and it had this flexible arm, this flexible metallic arm that allowed you to position the screen anywhere and everywhere. Much more than modern PCs are capable of, even today. and it looks like a pixel lamp. I guess that's my word on it,
Yeah,
other
I
than
think
that was the
MACLEOD,
computer. I guess that's my word on it, other than the fact that it was my mom's main computer for much of the 2000s and beyond. So go ahead, MPage. What were you about to say?
From the latest Power Macs to the Macs we have today, I think they were all running some variant of OS X, also known as OS 10, which I guess they just keep updating as a service to this point.
Yeah, they did that for a while, but then recently with OS Big Sur, they finally upped the version number to 11, which is kind of weird since it's pretty much another iteration of OS 10. What'd you say, MPage?
Yeah. I mean, it's like there's did you say they're still calling it OS 10 even though the version number is 11?
No, like they're calling it just macOS now. Like there's no version number officially anymore, but with Big Sur they upped the actual software version number to 11.
Right.
Like in terms of marketing, there's no real version number anymore.
That reminds me of it reminds me of a thing that Windows did. Windows, at some point in Vista's life, just stopped calling it Vista in marketing and started calling it Windows. But I think it's because they really know they fucked up.
Yeah, but here's the thing. It's the opposite with Apple now. Like, everyone knows macOS, everyone knows it's version 10, so they just got rid of it in marketing and upped the actual version to 11. So I guess that's my word on that. So, Tonyo, what would you like to say now? Or GH, what would you like to say now?
I guess we can talk about, like, bit architectures. x86 was what was brought up a bit ago. That's what we call 32-bit, I think. The thing with 32-bit OS is they can access up to 4 gigs of RAM. And they have back compatibility with 16-bit applications. But not 8-bit.
Exactly, because the thing with x86 was it's 32 bits, you can have 16-bit applications, you have 4 gigabytes of RAM. Like, what was the first 32-bit version of Windows?
I want to say either it is or it's close to XP.
Yeah, and
it is XP. Because, like, yeah, just go ahead.
And oddly enough, like, not only is XP the first 32-bit Windows, it's also the first 64-bit Windows. Which is kind of funny, considering...
Yeah, it became the first 64-bit Windows when 64-bit was a thing.
Yep. And now we're all running 64-bit Windows, except for that one boomer that still has 32-bit. One boomer.
Probably running Windows 7 or something. Idiot. But anyway, apart from the amount of RAM you could access, how could one tell the architecture was different? It was the way it came down to DOS applications. Because Windows 95, 98 could run on top of, had like a DOS environment you could run for backward compatibility with existing applications. And to an extent, Windows 2000 and ME kind of sort of had that as well. But with later versions of ME and then XP, they dropped it. So if you want to run DOS, you got to get a DOS emulator, which wasn't really common at the time, but DOSBox is a thing now, I guess.
Yes, and that is because of a thing called the Windows NT kernel. They have been working on this kernel ever since around 1993 when C code became a thing. And C code enabled a much wider variety of features at the cost of expensive hardware at the time. So as a compromise, Microsoft made a version of Windows for consumers, which was still running on top of DOS for the pleb machines, and Windows NT for the business machines, the consumer machines, the machines that could handle that kind of C code. But then Moore's Law happened, and the Windows NT kernel became a lot easier to run, and so Windows 2000 became a thing, and then XP became the first consumer Windows NT version. And we are still using Windows NT to this day.
In some variant of it, yes.
Yes, pretty much. Windows NT 10.0.
Yeah. Yeah. Once 64-bit processors became more mainstream, that I would say it's around Vista or 7 that they became mainstream, more computers started using them because CPUs could be optimized for them and have access to enhanced features. They maintain compatibility with 32-bit applications, but the 64-bit architecture, otherwise known as x64, could access a lot more than 4 gigs of RAM. The max amount is unknown, but theoretically it could address 16 to 18 exabytes of memory. That's a lot.
Yeah, that is 2200 level computing power. Damn. So I guess we're stuck with 64-bit.
It's going to be hard to even imagine reaching that high, though, because most of us in the gaming world are typically just fine with 32 gigs of RAM.
Yeah, and I guess computing power, at least on a consumer level, is going to stagnate, especially with the rise of cloud computing, meaning that a lot of calculations and applications are just going to be handled in the cloud and with AI. Especially with the whole DLSS shit.
In the cloud, in the cloud, when you hear the word in the cloud, people that aren't in the knowledge of computers could think it means that your program gets sent up to heaven and God runs it for you. But no, it actually uses the internet and goes to a very powerful, very big computer somewhere to do the thing.
Yes, exactly. And one company, Google, thought it was a great idea to make laptops, small desktops, and mini towers out of this very concept for Chromebook. But here's the thing, though. Go ahead, MPage.
Chromebooks, if you've been to a school, if you've been to a school in the 2010s, you know what a Chromebook is. Tiny computers that might as well just be tablets, except you can't take the screen off. And they pretty much run apps and do internet. And that's all you need for them, right?
Exactly. And of course, it has a lot of things that you can do on the internet nowadays. Google Docs, the Google Slides, the Google Presentations. Pretty much shit that you would normally do on Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, but on the cloud now! Hooray!
And it's free!
Yay! That's because Google can Google and then nickel and dime you in other ways! Thanks, YouTube ads!
Oh, great.
I think we should talk about monetization in a later episode, but Tonyo handles that. What's Tonyo been doing right now?
Right. I have no idea.
He's getting dinner.
Off subject a little bit. If you want a reliable, Office alternative that's not in the cloud, I would recommend OpenOffice. It's like Microsoft Office, except it's open source.
Yes, and a lot of people use LibreOffice to this day, but I prefer the Microsoft Suite still because it's just easier. Microsoft tends to just make its software easier and human readable more than other people. Even its programming languages are really just human readable and easy to approach. Even most open source software isn't really like that.
Yeah, some businesses standardize on old Office versions to this day, and more power to them. But don't even get me started on Office 365. Just no.
Oh boy. Like, I don't really mind it that much since Excel, Word, and PowerPoint are handled by my school. I don't really care. Just gotta fix my headphones.
Yeah. I mean, like, the least I'll say about it is, like, it's software as a service, you have to pay the subscription, and I hate it.
I think we all do. But companies want us to deal with it because they're dicks. Big fucking dicks.
Yeah, they don't want to give us things. They want to take our money and make us dependent on them.
Yes. Should we talk more about Windows, like, say, Windows 11? Probably.
Okay, well, let's see what's there to talk about. Let me Google it some more. Well, one thing I appreciate about Windows 11 is they're taking the Windows 10 approach to upgrades. They're trying to gain trust of the existing Windows community by offering a free upgrade path. Like, if you had 7 and 8, you could upgrade to 10 back in the day, and if you have 10, soon you'll be able to upgrade to 11.
Yes, but here's the thing, like, you know how they're able to keep running these free upgrades without losing money? By nickeling and diming you even fucking more. Like, they have these weird icons in the start menu that you're supposed to install by saying, "Hey, oh, look, Spotify, I got to install it." And then you install it there, and then Microsoft earns money that way. So, it goes to show that everything is not truly free. There's no such thing as truly free. There's always a catch.
Yeah, they even carried the whole App Store nickel and diming thing forward by allowing you to access the Amazon App Store from Windows' App Store.
Ooh. Which is kind of fucking weird. Maybe to compete with Apple and the fact that pretty much any iOS app now can run on a MacBook. Which is actually pretty kind of cool. And now Microsoft is trying to do that but even then it's with those weird tablets that Amazon tries to push on us. Oof.
Right. Okay, I found a page on the things they took out of Windows 11. Cortana and the taskbar, gone. News and interest tab, replaced with widgets. Tablet mode, gone. Windows Wallet, gone. The ability to synchronize your desktop wallpaper, gone. Let's see. Folders and application groups in the start menu, gone. Pinning apps and sites that you pinned from the last OS, gone. Let's see. Taskbar. Let's see. What else is gone? Let's see. Should I don't care? Oh, Paint 3D will not be installed by default. Neither will OneNote or the 3D model viewer. Skype will be replaced with Microsoft Teams.
Oh.
And Internet Explorer, gone. So it's like, thank God for that. That's one thing I'm grateful for. There's no more Internet Explorer, but there is an Internet Explorer compatibility mode on Edge.
Ooh, so, like, that thing about the 3D model viewer, though? That's a way to piss me off! Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, like, Jesus Christ, like, I use that 3D model viewer all the fucking time to make my 3D models in the 3D builder. But thankfully, I'm able to download that from the Microsoft Store for free, and now I use the HitFilm Express to render them and move them around, which is amazing and glorious.
Yeah. It does kind of sting. It does kind of sting for someone like me, though, who already had to deal with having to install classic Microsoft Paint from the Windows Store because they try to replace it with Paint 3D, which is also gone in Windows 11, but you can install from the App Store.
Yeah, thankfully I was able to keep Paint, the classic one. That was right before they took it off the App Store, so... And I have it pinned, so that's amazing. Yay! Paint.
Yeah, I have classic Paint as well. Okay, so despite Windows 11 retaining support for 32-bit applications because of the 64-bit architecture, they no longer support 32-bit AI32 processors. Only 64-bit computer processors or ARM processors.
Oh, I'm back. What are you guys talking about?
We were talking about Windows 11 and the features that are removed.
Oh, yeah. Windows 11. Yeah, no, rest in peace, 32-bit.
Yep. And I think macOS ditched 32-bit a while ago.
They brought back... Yeah.
Instead of catching up.
Yeah, they brought back widgets. Remember widgets from... I don't know if anyone remembers widgets. I remember them. They were called gadgets.
From Vista?
Yeah, from
Yes.
Vista.
Now they're back in 11 and they're called widgets.
Oh God. Hopefully, that's not really a bad of a signal, but at least it's gonna be better than what Vista did.
Like, I'm pretty sure all the creative apps that I love using on Windows 10 are going to be carried over on some form to Windows 11, or just be in the Microsoft Store, so that's good. But what I'm really excited for is a much more efficient desktop experience. Like, you know the snap feature in Windows 8 and 10? That's going to be expanded to a much better version where there's actually multiple versions of full screen that you can choose. Like, you don't have to drag it like that. Like, I'm dragging it through here, and as you can see, they actually had to use that in order to get a thing. Now, it's much more convenient. Thanks, Windows 11.
I'm expecting that Windows 11 is not going to be disappointing as Windows 8 was, you know.
Yeah, like Windows 10 is Windows 10 is already considered to be just an okay thing. It's just kind of there. It's not particularly great. It's not particularly bad. And I feel like Windows 11 will be the same way. So I guess the good-bad Windows cycle is dead.
Yeah, Windows, you remember how the start menu just integrated to, you know, like how, you know...
Yeah.
Apps were like that, you know, where you just gives it all to your, you know, style, like an Xbox, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me how Windows 11 is doing with their, you know, start menu, but a little bit better.
Yeah, like, Windows 11 start menu was way better than the 10 start menu. Like, the start menu here, like, it has these really weird cubes that show you ads if you're that depraved.
Exactly.
But
like,
you don't really see that anymore. It's just icons like everyone else, thank God.
Yeah, and also too, apparently the taskbar is going to the middle.
Yeah, like they're trying to be macOS, they're trying to be Chrome OS, they're
trying to be Apple.
Yes. But here's the thing, you can easily just go into the settings and switch it back to the left, which I'm assuming that 90% of people are just going to do. Like, that's the first thing that they're going to do once Windows 11 comes around.
Yeah. Well, when I expect Windows 10, I expect...
Kind of weird.
Sorry.
There is optimization all set up to try and make it feel more like a tablet or smart device by centerlining it and making things easier to access. But they removed Windows 10's tablet mode feature. So I don't know what they're thinking.
Yeah. When I expect Windows 11 to come out, I expect some parents, grandparents, or uncles or aunts, or be like, I don't want to update.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Windows 10 is actually going to have a shorter life cycle than most other Windows systems. It's going to end support in 2025.
Yeah, because it had a long ass, you know,
time to incubate, and Windows finally figured out how to make people upgrade. By doing it for free.
Yeah, like, for XP, how long did it last for support?
13 years.
What the hell?
Yeah, like, most Windows usually last for, like, 11 years. Windows 7 had a normal life cycle because it was so easy to upgrade to Windows 10 that it was pointless to have it have a longer one, so it just had a normal life cycle.
Yeah, as like for Windows 7, for Windows 10, like my dad just refused to use Windows 10 and just liked Windows 7.
Yeah, like, it's kind of weird, especially considering that Windows 10 is still Windows, and it's still usable like Windows. It just looks different.
Why not? Yeah, I would like you could just use a shell program.
Yes. Let's talk about shell programs.
Yes, the shell program. You know, where you want to make your Windows look like a classic, retro.
Thing. Like, classic shell. Like, I remember installing this on my old laptop when I first used Windows 10 regularly. Because, like, I was concerned that the Windows 10 start menu would be hard to use. So, I decided to make it look like the Windows 7 one. But then I got used to Windows 10 one, and I did not install it again once I got my gaming PC. So that's something. But
I'll admit that on my old on my ThinkCenter computer, I had installed an IO-bit program called Start Menu 8, which was originally designed for Windows 8, but it also works in Windows 10. It changes the start menu. I have it set to like Vista or 7, I guess. But I stopped using it when I got this gaming laptop.
By the way, isn't ThinkCenter same as ThinkPad or something?
No, ThinkCenter is their name for the tower computers, traditionally meant for the business market, but I bought mine refurbished, so it could be anything. ThinkPad is the laptop with the nipple.
Let's talk about
They're both made by Lenovo.
Let's talk about the ThinkPads. You remember those computers you used at school? Anyone remember the ThinkPads?
yeah, I remember the ThinkPads. The ThinkPads were cheap laptops that schools would get before Chromebooks. And ThinkPads were famous for having that little nub thing in place of a trackpad. A little nub thing that you would use your finger with, and then you could use that to click on things and use that as an actual mouse. Like, you're familiar with the technology if you ever owned a new Nintendo 3DS.
Yeah. Apparently Lenovo owns the ThinkPad or ThinkCenter,
Yeah.
Before, I remember it used to be just owned by IBM.
Yeah, but then it got spun off, and now it's owned by Lenovo, and... Wait, is Motorola still owned by Lenovo?
Let's see.
I thought it was the other way around.
Let's see. Motorola. Okay, the Motorola was, bankrupt, the original one. Oh yeah, it's still owned by Lenovo.
Sweet.
If you talk about the there's two Motorola's. The current one is Motorola Mobility LLC, while the other was Motorola Incorporated, which was the one mostly known for, the popularity in memes.
Yes. Exactly.
AGH, boop, hello, Moto.
Reddit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, since Lenovo. So what do y'all think about Lenovo's, computers?
Lenovo's computers. Well, I think the only Lenovo I had real experience with was an all-in-one I got around 2016. Like, here's the backstory behind that. In 2012, when we moved to Florida, my mother got us two computers. One is an $800 all-in-one that we still use to this day. And the other was a $500 all-in-one that ran a new OS called Windows 8. I fucking hated Windows 8. But my sister loved it, and it was meant for her so she could do schoolwork. And once she got a new computer, I got that computer as my first real computer as a hand-me-down. So what I did with it was, since I could not stand Windows 8 to my core, I got rid of it and replaced it with Ubuntu Linux, and that was my main driver I used until my birthday that year when I got my gaming laptop.
Yeah, as my experience with other brands, my experience, I had a lot of experience with HP, of course, because like my hand-me-down. You remember the laptop I used, everyone? The one I used for all my videos, all
Yeah.
the streams.
Mm-hmm.
You remember the streams?
Yeah, I remember those.
Yeah, that computer mostly was just used for businesses purposes, professional use, of course, because it had Windows Pro Home.
Exactly.
So the thing about the computer is like it ran great. First it ran Windows 7, but later it ran Windows 10, and it just ran good. And I played some games in again, but it was alright. It's just like wasn't the best, but it was a great computer.
Yes.
Now I have an HP Pavilion, but it's meant for
Gaming!
Yeah.
Exactly. Like,
So, go ahead.
I was about to talk about a laptop that my cousin had, which actually seemed very cool and very fun to use, but I never really got to use that. So, and I was about to talk about how the all-in-one was awful. Like, it could barely run the N64 well.
Speaking of all-in-ones, apparently there's an HP all-in-one that Austin Damage reviewed that was so terrible with 4 gigabytes of RAM, which is terrible.
Yep. With a terrible screen and the terrible camera.
Yeah.
And the DVD drive.
Oh, let's talk about the DVD drives. They're on laptops because apparently they decide, how Apple does with their, hardware and stuff? Where they just
Yeah.
remove it?
Like, Apple loves to remove, like, what are considered necessary things for progress and courage. With
Well,
Go ahead.
Microsoft...
It's like,
Go ahead, GH.
the line of thinking is, like you was about to say, the other computers and consoles followed suit. The line of thinking is like disk drives; those are dumb. We download things from the internet and use flash drives now. So why disk drives?
You know
But I
why
think
disk
the real
drives?
question is why not
Movies.
disk drives.
Because we need to watch movies or burn CDs. AKA this idiot named Ryan says, "Ooh, you play." No, not really, right?
Yeah, despite like all the shit they updated on Windows, they still have Windows Media Player. It could still burn CDs.
It's still,
And-
yeah.
And even if you would add a DVD drive, it could still play DVDs, provided you install VLC or shell out $15 for the official Windows DVD player. Why would you do that? I don't know.
Yeah. For Windows, yeah. DVD drives, they're still necessary, just like how the VGA port's still necessary in case you still have an old monitor. In case you have a monitor that has a VGA port only, and you just want to use that as your second dual monitor, We need that, right, Decent?
Yeah, like, I remember watching this video from Austin Evans, and it was very telling that the very best-selling laptop on Amazon was one of the few that still had a DVD drive. It was very telling that that was the very best-selling laptop on Amazon.
Yeah.
Like, people still
Pretty
want...
much,
Go ahead.
like the back and forth of the line of thinking goes like this. Without it, their back and forth of the line of thinking goes like this. How are we supposed to install Windows without a DVD drive? You can do it over the internet. But I don't have an internet. What are you, Amish?
Yeah, like, that's what they think. Like, internet outages are a thing, and also, too, data limits are a thing. MPage has one of those. So, people want to go back to their old DVD collection and want to watch them.
It's freaking illegal to cap our internet usage. From what I heard, it's illegal to cap our usage, but apparently our companies get around this by saying, "Oh, we're not capping your usage. If you go over the limit, you just slow the fuck down. But we're not stopping you." Well, you kind of are, because half of the shit I do requires it to be consistently speed.
Speed.
Speed. Yes.
Yeah. So, let's talk about, how, compact, was a rising, major brand in the computer industry, but they went down and later got purchased by its competitors.
Yes, like, I don't really know much about Compaq as a company. Like, I only remember Compaq for, like, having those really old business computers that some companies still use, I don't know. But I don't really know about the company's history. Like, M-Page probably knows, Antonio probably knows, so
Yeah, I know
take it
about
away.
Compaq.
Take it away.
I'm just gonna read the whole entire article from Wikipedia, because we need Wikipedia. People are like, "Ooh, Wikipedia's bullshit site." I don't care, but here it is. So, I start off first about your experience with a Compaq computer, since you said you had a compact, computer before.
Like my first Compaq was a computer I had with Windows Vista. I don't remember the exact specs, but I remember it had 250 gig hard drive and 2 gigs of RAM, and it ran Windows Vista. As far as like being back compatible with old things, it ran them quite well, and I pirated a lot of You Don't Know Jack games on it before I bought them legitimately on Steam later. But as far as running like good things on the internet or just new games in general, I hated it.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, compact computers, they're mostly pretty much, used for,
Business topics and not necessarily gaming things. Or really any consumer stuff, really.
Like, it was one... Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead, M-Page.
It was meant for my mom, but as a kid, I was a greedy little bastard and just kept it was supposed to be for my mom to do business on, but being a kid, I was a greedy little bastard and I used it anyway. Boy, do I regret it.
Yeah, that's me. If you didn't know, I used to use the Dell laptop for Windows 7. I just fucked it up because I was stupid enough, since I was like how MPage say describe it, a greedy little bastard. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, after this, I'm gonna do a Windows 10 destruction on Twitch.
Yes, and we're gonna be there. So,
yeah.
We're gonna...
Yes.
So, if you want to watch us, go to Tonyo's Twitch and watch us destroy Windows.
Yeah, but anyway, about Compaq, they were just, they were the largest supplier of PC systems during, like, the 1990s before it was overtaken by, of course, it's later, later, the competitor that will ever buy them, HP, because they struggled to compete with Dell. Speaking of Dell, how is your experience with Dell, GH, since you've been having 2 Dells before?
All my laptops up to this point were Dell, and once I got to the point where I knew, like, the point of Dell was, like, interchangeable parts, that's what helped me get smarter about buying computers from them, because they either had to be included with the right parts, or they had to give me a path to help me get the right parts in the future. And, like, my previous laptop did what I needed to do in regard to, like, sort of modern gaming and schoolwork, but streaming from it kind of sucked. But that's another story. What else? The Dell has, like, as far as my knowledge, Dell has, like, 2 lines of laptops, or at least the ones that are notable to me. There's the Inspirons, which are the cheap shit, and then there's the Alienware, which is the hardcore gaming shit.
Yeah, Alienware. I remember one of our former members had an Alienware desktop, but they said that that the gaming wasn't real. The desktop wasn't really gaming, so they just bought a Best Buy branded gaming rig called Cyber Power PC. I forgot what it was, but it was iBuy Power. But I don't know. Do you know any Best Buy brands, GH?
I mean, Cyber Power sounded like a Walmart brand for a second. Like, I don't remember it being a Best Buy thing.
Yeah, it was one of those. Yeah, so they have the member there just has that now, because they said that the Alienware was just not a good experience for gaming. It just really just ran as a freaking professional business computer more than a gaming. So yeah, apparently if you're trying to buy for a game computer, check which one it is because it might mislead you to the title or something.
Well, here's my experience with Dell. My old laptop that I used before this gaming PC was a Dell Inspiron. And not just any Dell Inspiron. Like, it was between the cheap business computer and the gaming computer, in that it had a 960M, but also a really good CPU and really good RAM. So, what happened was, I used that thing for virtual machines, and I was surprised to see them actually run well. So, that was my experience with Dell, and also too, Dell's bloatware was actually pretty useful. Like, the Dell Support Assist feature was pretty good. Like, the BIOS was very straightforward and accessible. I'm guessing that Dell is just a really good company for one of these monolithic computer manufacturers.
Speaking of Dell, in 2009, they did a commercial, and with the whole entire workers singing Lollipop for for one of their laptops. I'm gonna share the screen. I remember this.
We should watch that. We should.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna go live. Let's go right here. It's a 2009 commercial. And look how many views. 1 billion views, and look when it came out.
Almost 2 million. 2009.
Yeah. Let's just watch it. Is GH watching? Let's see. Okay. Yeah, he is. Okay. Let's just watch it.
Lollipop, lollipop, oh lolly, 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 lollipop.
Oh my god, I remember this.
It was when I was watching SpongeBob on Nickelodeon during that time.
Her kiss is sweeter than a cherry pie. And when she does a shaky rock and dance, man, I haven't got a chance.
Treat yourself to a Dell Inspiron laptop
Lollipop, lollipop,
with intelligent Intel processors. Dell, yours is here.
Am I supposed to eat it or game on it?
Yeah. Because of the colors, yeah, they just look so sweet. But yeah, I kind of feel bad for the people that bought that computer during that time because they had Windows Vista installed. But I feel like they just, got Windows 7 later on.
Yeah. Like, the thing with Dell laptops is that they're very industrially produced. Like, a lot of, Dell's business model is make a shit ton of models and make it confusing for people to buy them.
Yeah.
I guess that's my description of the Dell business model.
Was the pioneer of the... Dell essentially was the pioneer of a groundbreaking industry in computers, interchangeable parts. Like, before Dell, most average users didn't think twice about what was in their computer as long as they could look at their cat pictures or whatever. But like with Dell, you knew that whatever you paid, that was what kind of build you got, and you could and if you had a desktop, you could always swap things out for better things later because that was one of the things they prided themselves on. It was no trade secret with them.
Yeah.
But the thing is, unfortunately, it comes with some setbacks. My buddy Chris insists that Dells are stupid because he bought some bad Dells in the past. But given his history, which I'm not going into, I'm going to say that he always bought the cheap Dells. And you know what, motherfucker? You get what you pay for.
What are there 4 gigabytes of RAM?
I don't know what he had. I remember, my first Dell, which later went to my brother because he had never seen how badly I fucked up a computer before. This was before I knew anything about computers. That only had 3 gigs of RAM, but the Dell I have now is 8.
Yeah. So speaking of Compaq, apparently Compaq had a spokesperson for the commercials, and it was talking about 32 bits of a bus. When 32 bits of, 32-bit was actually, a big thing. Yeah. So here's John Cleese. You know the actor. Might have heard of him.
Yeah. We'll see.
It's a commercial from the 2000s.
Hello. You know this computer thing Compaq say they've made from 386 chips and 32 bits of a bus? Well, the funny thing is that certain other companies are still trying to make one of these. So, if you work for Remember, all you need are 386 chips and 32 bits of a bus. And if that doesn't work, you can always try half a ferret armored car and a Saveloy.
The compact Despro 386. Chips, buses, and compatibility.
Never cease to amaze you.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't get it.
I don't really get it either.
yeah, that's where Crush backed in. But yeah, so Compact really want to stay alive,
old
but
British
go
humor
ahead.
goes over my head. Like I don't get it because it's British humor, but whatever. That's old British humor. I understand new British humor, but old British humor is weird. But anyway, I think he was just making fun of the fact that people have no idea what they're doing when it comes to computers, which was very true back then.
Yeah. So so now since Compact just had so many spokespersons, but it just couldn't get them keep their net worth growing because a lot of people were just buying HPs and Dells. So yeah, I guess they just struggle because of Dell and HP. So they're at risk, from getting bought from some other company, but which they actually did, which is in 2002, HP bought Compaq for $25 billion. So after that, the Compaq just remembers a brand from HP for like their lower end systems, the shitty systems.
The shitty compact systems that I know. I guess those were probably the HP ones.
Yes, since Compaq was just a subsidiary for HP, they just became just the cheaper ones, because Yeah, so they remain as.
Honestly,
Go ahead, GH.
it actually sounds like a smart move the way you say it, because like if you make cheap shit and it's cheap shit, then obviously you don't want to be associated with cheap shit if you make good shit. That's why having another name's a good thing.
Yeah. As for Compaq brand, it remained as a brand for the HP from 2002, I believe, to 2013, when HP, made a new company called HP Inc., which is currently the current one. It's kind of how HP just dissolved and became another HP. Pretty much combined both of them.
Yeah, and here's the thing though, like the other HP, Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, is this IT company that's focused on business things, like I said, like business things, networks, enterprise systems, servers, while HP is focused on the consumer level. HP Inc.
Yeah.
So I guess that's...
So, in conclusion, what do you want to conclude with about computers?
Yes, let's talk about our final thoughts on computers in general. They paved the way for the information age, but nowadays, computers are now pretty much only used for, like, work and gaming, while most of the basic stuff we do on our phones now.
Yeah, because, phones are just pretty much being, the main source of technology now.
Yeah, now that the phones are becoming more and more capable, they're more and more capable of processing, capable of word processing, capable of gaming on some level. They're capable of pretty much everything basic that we need.
Exactly.
Meaning making the super low-end computer obsolete in that regard. Why do you see all the 2-in-1s?
Oh yeah. As for like I know Microsoft's trying to do with the same technology, do tablets and
yeah,
compare
but
at the same time. It just doesn't. I don't know.
Doesn't really work out for them. Like most people nowadays use Androids and iDevices.
Yeah, you remember when Microsoft made their own phone? I remember that. That was a flop.
Yep, that was a flop. But here's the thing, like, we would have gone into more detail about phone companies, but Sonyo couldn't be there, so we kind of flopped on that. We should probably do a redo of the phone companies episode later.
Yes, actual real motivated one instead of
Yeah.
just blurring stuff out. That's what I say.
Yep.
As for computers, they're probably the only thing we can grateful thing we have in our lives for computers.
Yes. So, GH, what are your final words on computers?
Like, I mean, like whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, I can't imagine my life without computers. And it's amazing to see how far technology has come. And one thing I'm grateful for is if I want to ever go back to my old shit, there's always virtual machines or buying old computers on eBay.
Yeah, and also if you want to do like how you did, destroying computers, you could use a virtual machine for that.
Yes, which is what we're going to be doing once Tonyo starts streaming on Twitch. So, once the SmackDown's over, go on to his Twitch and watch for us if you like what we do.
Yes, if anyone's watching, if we have anyone here, cricket sounds.
Yes, cricket sounds like concurrent viewers 1.
Yeah, but anyway, next time, tomorrow, Budgets!
Yes! A good stream with games and wrestling and all sorts of things.
So Monday, Nick will be playing FNAF 1.
Yes, he's gonna get a new job.
Oh boy.
So, now that you know what to look forward to,